This week on the show,
I think in general, I just want to give a great performance.
David Marino.
That was a good performance and you were going to win, or?
No, I knew I wasn't going to win.
He was on The Voice, by the way.
Yes, yeah.
The Voice Quebec.
That was one of them.
Actor, singer. He finished as a finalist on The Voice Quebec.
The goal is more to kind of improve myself every day. 1% every day, and just become the best artist I can possibly be.
Let's talk to David Marino on the Very Creative Podcast.
David Marino, how's it going?
Hey man, how's it going? I clearly answered your question there by asking it to you. I'm doing well, thanks.
Well, a lot of people do that, That's our instinct, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for coming on my podcast. Second interview.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to talking to you on this public platform.
Yeah, same here. Thanks. It's great to be here.
Yeah, well, thank you. Before we get started, we had a guest on yesterday introduce yourself first, and then we'll talk about the guest that was on yesterday.
So, hi, my name is David Marino. I am from Montreal, Canada. I am a performer, a singer, actor, and I I love to sing, I love to act, and I hope to make a career in performance.
You will. It's just too humble.
Thank you. And I just love what I do, and that's me.
I mean, you're a lot of things. Yeah, you're a singer, you're an actor. You make me laugh sometimes. You're a comedian a little bit.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a comedian for a living, but
No.
I try my
No,
best.
you're funny. And you're a big musical theater fan, which we'll get into.
Yes, huge musical theater fan. Yeah. I mean, as a singer actor, it's the world that combines both of them. So,
very creative person here, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be fun, my friend. You do a lot of things. And very talented. And I can't stop myself from saying that over and over because it's true. You're unbelievable. And
thank you.
Yeah,
oh, gosh.
Can't wait for the world to discover you. Yeah.
Oh man, don't make me blush here.
Okay, stay humble, my friend. All right, so like I was saying before, there was a guest on yesterday, JAYLEN Taylor. I think you know her. So I don't know if this name is familiar to you.
Oh yeah,
but you asked her a question, and let's see her reaction right now. I'll show you on my phone now.
I'm very curious what he just said.
So, hey JAYLEN, so I was just wondering, what's your favorite color?
David Marino, you're one of my favorite people ever. My favorite color is blue. It always has been, and it always will be. Blue is the best color ever, and no one will ever change my mind.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me replay it. He's got a funny face. It's great. Yeah. And I lost my time. And then you can ask him a question I'm interviewing him tomorrow.
That's great.
This is so funny.
Hey JAYLEN, so I was just wondering, what's your favorite color?
This is so stupid.
Oh my God. David, what? That's great. That's a great question. I'm glad he asked.
So blue. Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
And she had a question for you that's coming up.
Oh, cool. Oh my God, that's so. that was so. I literally filmed that in 2 seconds.
I don't know.
And it was
David,
oh.
If you could be any animal, which would you be and why? And why though? That's the most important.
Oh, the why, man. Okay.
Yeah. Why?
Why?
All right, let's return to this.
Wow, that's a very sophisticated question for me.
Yeah, which animal and why?
Which animal would I be?
She was very specific on the why.
She was, I know. First of all, I love JAYLEN. She's amazing. And can I just say
She's
that
amazing.
we met at a musical theater intensive in New York at NYU,
Yeah.
and she's been like a great friend ever since. She's just like the best, the kindest, sweetest, funniest person,
Yeah.
And you know her because you came to New York,
Yeah.
and we
But
met there. So
I really
yeah,
got to know her on the podcast and
yeah,
listening to her podcast and watching her YouTube channel and DMing with her privately. But yeah, it's she's a she's great at conversation. I learned a lot from her on the podcast and about creativity, about also issues of racism and how we attack that as as creators.
yeah.
And yeah, it's been very very fun, and she's an amazing person. Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
which animal and why, David
Which
Marino?
animal and why? Okay, so for my whole life, I've been obsessed with dolphins. Uh, so,
Interesting.
so I'm gonna say dolphin. Why?
It's a great animal.
It's a smart animal. Dolphins are really smart, and they're
Hmm.
so cool. I mean, like in and out of water, jumping in and out, and I just think they're the like sweetest things, and yeah, and they're just smart animals, and I would love to pet a dolphin at some time in my life. I've never done that, so
You've never
yeah.
done that?
No, no, no. Well,
Oh, they're
I
fun.
I've seen a couple when I was like really small, like with my
Yeah.
family, but I've never petted a dolphin, so that would be really cool.
Oh no, it's
Yeah.
fun. You'll have the time of your life. But it stinks if I remember correctly. Like the water really stinks.
Oh
You're
well,
like,
that's
oh,
just
okay, that's an
fantastic.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people do it,
Yeah.
and the dolphins are there all the time.
Well,
Anyway,
we love stinky water. This is
so
fantastic.
dolphins. That's great.
Exactly.
I can't wait to show her that answer. All right. So, like we said, you're a singer, actor. But what I really want to start with is because I was talking with JAYLEN yesterday, and we came to the conclusion that you're not born like I wasn't born a writer. I became that way because JAYLEN was explaining to me, oh, my parents like took me to church and put me on a stage choir, and I was scared to death, but like that was the first step in my becoming a singer or an actor, everything. So yeah, you're not born,
No,
and
I
you
agree.
weren't born a singer, I assume.
I agree 200% with that.
You didn't come out of your room and
I didn't exactly. I didn't. I don't think anyone is born with a certain thing. I think it's all in the choices that people make and the choices that their parents make and their
yeah.
upbringings. And like for example, for myself, my parents put me in violin lessons when I was 3.
So
And
where
that's
did you grow up first?
so I grew up in Montreal, east end of Montreal.
Yeah.
And yeah, and my parents put me in music lessons. Well, they put my brother in music lessons first. So because I saw my brother, I was kind of like jealous of my brother, and I was like, "Wait, I wanna be in a music class." And
Yeah.
then I kind of started music at a really really young age. And again, it's because of not my personal choice, but because of my parents and my upbringing and
Mm.
so that's how I got into it. And again, even with my love for jazz and crooner music, that started with my dad, who bought me a Sinatra CD. If it wasn't for that, I
Yeah.
mean, so again, it's just everything's passed down. It's more who you're born with, and
Yeah.
the
Well,
upbringing.
talk about
Yeah.
that. Were you born with artists, or were you born with complete opposite people
I
than what you
wasn't.
became?
I wasn't born with artists. Both my parents are teachers, and my mother teaches grade 2, and
Wow. Okay.
my dad teaches accounting. So
Wow. Okay,
yeah,
that's different.
very different. But my family always had like an appreciation for music,
Yeah.
and I think many families do, even if they're not artists. So I've been lucky and blessed that they've supported me throughout. And Yeah, but again, it was still, if it wasn't for my parents' support and encouragement and putting me in extracurricular activities when I was a kid, and I don't think I definitely wouldn't be where I am today doing what I'm doing today. So yeah.
So you started violin, and then when did you like that? And when did the Sinatra CD came along?
I did. I
along?
apparently loved. Apparently, I don't remember too much, but I apparently loved playing the violin.
Okay.
But I stopped.
I played violin too at an early age.
Cool. Oh, look at that. Yeah, it's great
Yeah.
for ear development, and yeah, it's awesome. I stopped,
lost it, though.
unfortunately. I would have loved to continue. Now that I look back, I'm like, why did I stop? But it's I got into singing, and I kind of was like obsessed with that, so it kind of took a backseat. So I stopped when I was 6 playing the violin, and then I started singing at 6. And again, it was well, it started with, I was just like listening to Shania Twain. And I kind of just liked Shania Twain, and and then weird.
okay.
I know. Then a year later,
it's okay.
She's great. She's great. It's just very weird compared. It's kind of sticks out like a sore thumb compared to what I do today. But anyway, then when I was 7, my dad.
What's a Shania Twain song? I know the name. I know Shania Twain, but what's the Shania Twain song?
Man, I Feel Like a Woman.
Okay.
There's what's the other one? Oh God, I haven't listened to her in a while, in years. But she has a lot of famous ones that you'd recognize. And then when I was 7, my dad bought.
So you were listening to Shania Twain, and then that happened. Okay.
And then my dad bought a Sinatra CD, and I kind of just from there took off into jazz and that whole world. And then years later,
what was the feeling though when you heard Sinatra for the first time? What happened in your brain? What happened in your mind, in your body, to make you realize, oh, this is something that's great?
Wow. Well, it was a long time ago, so I
if you remember.
Yeah, I mean it. All I can remember is that there was like a part of me that I was just connected to it. It's really, I'd say, like I just remember getting chills, and there was something about Sinatra that I wanted to be like. It's really hard to explain it. I think it's just something. It's a connection, like when it's hard to explain that. And
you wanted to be like him, yeah, for sure.
Exactly, I wanted to be like him, and it's from everything. Well, at that age, everything in terms of wardrobe too. I would wear fedoras trying to.
But that's how it happens. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, that's how it happens. That's how I started acting. I wanted to be like the people I saw on the screen, and I was like, oh, I really want to do that. And that feeling, it's like, oh, you can actually. That's actually a job. Like, that's actually something. They're not just, they're actual people, first of all. You realize that because you're like, I'm watching TV, but they're actual people with actual lives.
That's an interesting thing you brought up, because that's with everybody. Like, even the greats. Like, for example, Sinatra started, I know some of his history, and he started because he was inspired by Bing Crosby, who was another older jazz singer, and Sinatra wanted to be like Bing Crosby. So when he started, that's how he started. And then even Elvis had a lot of inspiration from Dean Martin. So, and then that got passed down. Then Elvis inspired other artists, and then those other artists inspired other artists. And then from there, it's like a trickling effect. And so it's so important to, I guess what I'm trying to say is history is so important, and where everything came from. And
Nothing stays buried forever, especially not the past. Yesterday is Not Yet Gone, a mystery novel by Gabriel Veiga, host of the Very Creative Podcast. Available now, paperback and digital. GabrielVeiga.com. Buy it now.
It's fascinating how we how something sparks in your body. I was talking about it with JAYLEN, and I was like, what if your parents took you to a farm or like took you to something else than a stage? But at the end, like what we conclude is that you have to like it. You have to, there's something that has to happen in your body to be like, oh, I like singing. You know, this is amazing what he's doing, Frank Sinatra. And and then when did you figure out you had a voice?
Well, it did start with the like Shania Twain era. That's when it's
Okay.
call it an era. It was like 1 year, but anyway.
So you were already singing at that point.
Yeah. I was singing like Shania Twain tunes and and then my parents kind of saw that I loved it clearly, and they put me in singing lessons at 6.
Yeah.
And then it was with a teacher who's amazing. I'm still in contact with her today. Her name was Angie Arsenault. She taught me from 6 to about 11. And she's kind of, I grew my passion for singing with her.
Yeah.
And and then so that's how it started. That's how it started. And I mean the rest is history. then I Go ahead.
What happened after you started singing, you started developing a voice, you started like I assume like because we can put it up, like I had a video of you hold on this.
Oh dear God.
So let's put
No.
So this
Oh no.
So how old were you at that time?
So I was about 13, I think, or 14, 12. I don't know, 12. I think it was 12. Yeah. Okay. I won a competition. I won an Italian singing competition that like.
So when did you start entering competitions?
Oh well, I didn't do many competitions. All I did was I did 3 in my life. I've never been like 2 of them were televised, and one of them was.
He was on The Voice, by the way.
Yes, yeah.
The Voice
that was one of them, and then
we'll talk about it later, but yeah.
And then I also did the I don't know if you remember the show, The Next Star.
No.
It was like a YTV singing show that was on for a couple years. It was a kids singing competition.
Okay.
Called The Next Star, and in Canada, and I did that.
Was that what Ryan Gosling did?
No. It was.
It was a dancing competition that he did, right, or something.
I think so. I'm not sure, but yeah, it was. Who was the host? Was like someone from Degrassi or something.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but when, like, from the singing lessons to the competitions, or like from getting yourself out there, like, what happened? What made you do that? Get yourself out there.
I think
being confident enough.
I think it started from the beginning when I started singing, and then it kind of just built and built and built. My parents saw that I was loving it more and more year after year, and they kind of encouraged me. They never forced me, but they encouraged me to pursue the passion, and I took to it. I just wanted to do it. I wanted to continue singing lessons. I wanted to enter competitions. I wanted to sing on stage. I just wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And
you were loving it. Yeah.
Exactly. And so then I did competitions, local competitions, local concerts, fundraisers, variety shows, high school shows. And
were you already singing before those competitions in front of audience regularly, or?
Yeah, my first concert in front of an audience, actually, I was 6.
Okay. Wow, that's incredible.
I did. It was in the small theater, the like 100-seat theater at Place des Arts.
Yeah.
And that was with my singing coach that I had, Angie Arsenault. She had like a variety show for all her students. And then so I got to sing on stage because I was a student. And yeah. And
were you on stage before that with the violin, or no?
I did do, I think, one or two performances with the
Because I
violin.
did, like at 4, I that was my first on stage moment in front of an audience.
Yes,
like with the violin. Yeah, you know.
Now that I look back, now that you say that, that's true.
Yeah.
That was my first singing is what I meant with the
6. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then started from there. Yeah.
Exactly.
And yeah, going back to the competition, what were you talking about? You did fundraisings.
Yeah, so I was just a part of like fundraisers, and yeah, I it started with the Italian community. I did a lot of, because I'm in the Italian community. There was a lot of concerts and stuff like that I took part in, which is all great for like. It was all great to learn I guess, stage experience. It's just being on stage and throwing yourself out there, especially as being so young.
Yeah.
So
scary.
Yeah. And I just always loved it. I mean, I was nervous, but I still am nervous every time I go on a stage. But it's
as that nervousness, because now you have experience, and yeah, that was kind of because I asked JAYLEN at the end of the podcast. She was like, I was like, what question should I ask David? And she was like, have you seen those videos of him at a young age? I was like, I've seen a clip on YouTube of him singing, but the song that I showed you.
Yeah.
But no, not really. Well, she was like, you should ask him how does it compare to like right now you're singing and back then but I guess my question is more like, first, you're nervous, but you're less nervous because you've got experience. So what's happening there?
Actually, it's the opposite.
Really?
I would say that I'm more nervous now, and I'll tell you why. Because I think I have more knowledge now about
the business,
what it takes, and the standards that I hold for myself in terms of a performance of quality. So I know that I expect myself, and I put that standard on myself to give a certain level of a performance now, as opposed to when I was younger. I didn't really know what a great performance was, or what you know. So I never put that standard on myself, and I kind of just went on stage and sang. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now I kind of have an expectation. I feel that I want to meet, and it's not being hard on myself. It's just I expect I hold myself to a higher standard, because I've learned a lot more over the years. And oh my God, I'm never going to stop learning.
No, we never do.
Exactly. So
if you stop learning, you die. Honestly.
Yeah. So to me, it's exactly. Yeah.
It's a little rough, but it's kind of true.
Yeah. No, we live to learn. Yeah, absolutely. And so yeah, now I mean, it's not a big difference. I was still nervous too, but back then. But it also depends the performance, like where I'm singing, or what I'm singing, how prepared am I. I think, but there's always going to be that feeling of nervousness, and I think it's normal because we want to do well. I want to do well, and the hardest part is kind of just experiencing that feeling and not letting it get in the way of a performance. And instead let it fuel a performance, which is an art in itself, and I'm learning it every day. So yeah.
How, like, what was the difference back then? We were just like experiencing it and just doing it because it was fun. It was the first time you were doing it. Yeah.
I was just like kind of.
Well, what was that nervousness then?
Well, I think it was just back then. It was more like I want to remember.
Your dog is great.
I know my dog. My dog keeps barking. She doesn't stop. She never stops.
Okay,
it's fine.
My dog was doing things earlier, just to let you know.
She literally could see a tree and think it's a human, and she'll bark at it. Like, I can't. I'm like, there's nobody outside. Stop barking. Stop. Anyway, she's adorable, so it's fine.
Yeah.
God, the dogs always do it. Now I forgot what I was talking about. What was I talking about? Nerves. Was I talking about stage nerves?
Yeah, what was the difference?
Yeah. So when I was a kid, it was more like, oh, am I going to remember the words? Like, I was nervous. Like, oh my God,
Right.
am I going to remember the lyrics? What if I fuck? No,
No,
I didn't say that. Well, what if I screw up the lyrics, you know?
Yeah.
And as opposed to now, it's like, I don't really worry about the lyrics anymore. Like, it's more like, am I going to give the performance that I want to give?
Right.
Yeah. So, am I going to hit all the notes and produce a sound in a way that I want to produce the sound? Or am I going to tell the story and communicate the story of the song in the way that I want to communicate the story of the song?
Yeah.
So that's more about what I worry about today, which again is years of training and stuff that does that, and it's only going to get better and worse at the same time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you worry about when you're nervous about your performance? Because people have seen you on TV, people have seen you on The Voice. It's been a long time now, but do you worry at all about the people that know you, that watched you on TV, about in your performance? Does that make you nervous too?
Oh, like people that
like
know
they know you're singing, they know your career a little bit.
You know, to be honest, I don't really. I didn't really think about that when I was on the show. It was more.
No, but after. I mean, like you're saying you're nervous now. Does that?
Does that? Oh, I see what you're saying.
Influence your thing.
Not really. I mean, I think in general, I just want to give a great performance, and I'll know, like, even when an
Your
audience.
dog. You want to comment now?
My dog. Yeah. I'll be right back. I'll go see what. This is my dog, and she's very tense, and she wants to go bark. And yeah, she's special, and she needs a bath. But she's great, and yeah, she literally was barking at a tree. I'm not even joking. There was nothing outside. I was like,
oh my God.
So I'm gonna put her out, and I'll be right back, and hopefully she stops barking.
Yeah. Well, she's great. So what I was asking is, do you feel that influence because you were on a TV show, and people you build kind of a fan base from that, and does that ever stress you out? Now it's been quite a while, but
yeah, it's been a while, but I don't know. I again, what stresses me out more is achieving what I want to achieve on a performance night, telling the stories, giving a performance that meets my standards. That's kind of what I get nervous about. I try not to think about who's in the audience or all that stuff, because although I think about that more before, when I'm preparing for the show, as if like what I'm going to say in between, what songs I'm going to sing when I'm preparing the set, like that. I take the audience into consideration.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But then when it's time for the performance, it's more thinking about giving the performance that I want to give.
Yeah. So the show doesn't have an influence on your performance anymore, or as it?
No, not at all. Not at all. Actually, the contrary. I mean, I try to not be placed in a. I think I offer more than what I offered when I was on the show.
Yeah.
And so I try to not keep myself in the box of being the La Voix singer. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you feel that pressure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, I loved the show, and I think it's amazing, and it was a great experience, and I'm glad I did it. I would do it again in a heartbeat. Uh, but at the same time, I did, that the show doesn't define who I am. You
No,
know, the
it
show
doesn't.
doesn't define what I do, and
Yeah.
I am myself. I'm so yeah.
It's just another door that opened, and you used it in a way that it's a great opportunity for
Exactly.
singers and for artists. And yeah, but it shouldn't be. You shouldn't be known as the voice guy forever. It's not
Right.
your goal is not to be
No.
a voice famous person. It's to
Exactly.
be like a singer. That's your
Yeah.
career. That's what you love. Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't say, "Oh, I'm going to listen." When you were 6, when
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
when your dad played the Sinatra CD, you were like, "Oh, I'm going to be a voice performer."
Right. No, exactly. The goal has always been, it's never anything to do with what show I'm going to be on,
Yeah,
or what how
but it's
many
a great
people are.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. It's more, the goal is more to kind of improve myself every day.
yeah,
1% every day, and just become closer, become the best artist I can possibly be. That's always been the goal,
hmm
and wherever that takes me, I don't know. So
yeah,
because the field is so unpredictable, so
yeah.
it's kind of, everything else is out of my control. So
Well,
yeah,
you did it, but how?
yeah,
Like, let's talk about it a little bit. Just because the audience is going to be fascinated by it. Like, how did you get on the show, and what made you go? Like,
yeah.
was there an
So
audition before the
yes,
TV thing?
yes, yes. So my friend, a close friend of mine, who's also a jazz singer, her stage name is Shai Shai Shuli,
Okay.
and she was on the show the year before me, and she was kind of like, you should audition for the show. And then I got a letter. I was that asked me if I wanted to audition, and I said sure. And so I went to a pre-audition.
So you applied, and then you got a letter. Is that
I
what
hadn't
happened?
applied, actually. I hadn't
Okay.
applied yet. So I got
So
a
she
letter.
said that, and then they reached out to you.
Yes, they reached out to me.
Okay.
I don't know how they found me. I don't think it was
Right.
through her. I think it was just a
Okay.
coincidence. But yeah, yeah, they reached out to me. Anyway, but they do that with everyone. That's like
Yeah, yeah.
standard. Yeah.
No, but I've heard other people just go at the
They
open
do. Yes,
audition,
there are.
and
There
yeah,
are. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's both. So I went to the pre-audition,
that's great though.
and yeah, and the round before the televised round with the buttons and all. There's
Yeah,
one
yeah,
round. There's one round before that. That's not televised.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's what is interesting, because I've heard that. I've heard that
yeah,
like
yeah, and
that's yeah,
basically what it is people line up, and they get their stickers and their whatever, and then they do interviews, and then after that they go into a room where there's like two people at a chair, and they have their computers and their notes, and there's a guy filming in the back, and you sing a song and they say thank you and you leave.
yeah.
And then
So
they, yeah,
the
and then
first
they,
appearance on TV is not the first. Like
no,
those judges see you for the first time, though, right?
yes,
Those are
yes,
not the judges that are at the audition. So
no, no, no,
that's
no,
that's the first time they see you
no.
on TV.
At the pre-auditions, it's the producer that's there,
Yeah.
the producer of the show. Um, yeah, then no, the judges don't see you until the actual day of the audition, the blind audition.
Right.
So yeah, and then they called me back like a month later, and they were like, "Oh, we're inviting you to the blind audition." And I was like, "Oh, great, okay." Then I went, and then I had to pick a song, and I had to send some song options, like 4 or 5 song options.
Okay.
And then they picked out of those options. They picked
Yeah.
the song, and they picked the song I liked. Luckily, So yeah, and then I did that song, and then everything else was televised. So then, and
Did they ask you
yeah.
anything else, or they just judge you on your musical talent? Because did they ask you for your story, or were they looking for that?
In the interviews before, yes, they did ask like, how did you start singing? How did you get into crooning? How did you start? Blah, 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 all the questions, and they interviewed my parents,
Oh wow, okay.
So yeah, but not the judges though. That this was the journalists and stuff.
Yeah,
the judges was only on stage televised.
Yeah.
All the time. So yeah.
Yeah, and then you went to the first. How was that your first time on TV?
No. I had done the Next Star.
The Next Star. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just back up a little bit. What was your first time? That was your first time on TV, The Next Star. So
yeah,
how did that feel?
The Next Star
to be on TV
for the first time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was a kid, and I was kind of like, I was like 11. I was kind of just like having lots of fun,
Right.
And I guess as a kid, it's like whatever. Everything's like, yay, So it's kind of just like having a blast. And I was singing. I didn't sing jazz at all on The Next Star. I sang opera.
Oh wow!
I sang an Italian opera song or something.
Okay.
And it was. Anyway, but
and then you went on The Voice. So it wasn't your first time on TV, but what was the experience of the first? Like, how did they call it? The first audition? What is it?
The blind auditions.
The blind audition,
it was great. I mean, lots of the part that sucks is the waiting, because there's a lot of waiting time and waiting hours where I'm in a room for literally from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. in a room, just like waiting for interviews, waiting for the audition. That's it. I was waiting. It sucked. But then they called me, and I was like, oh my God, it's time. And then once it's time, it's like everything's like hectic, and there's cameras all over you. And they're like, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like, what's happening?
So now you were conscious of the camera, I guess.
Exactly, yeah. And then I didn't really have time to think, to be honest. Because they just kind of throw you in there. And it's like, they don't give you time to think. And it gets emotional too, because they're so like on you and in your face all the time.
Yeah, so there's a spotlight directly on you. Yeah.
Exactly. And
they're like, don't fuck up.
Yeah. So then I was waiting behind the big red door. They have the big red door that you have to open to walk onto the stage. And they're like filming you, and they literally film you being nervous. It's like great. They filmed me like waiting before and like being nervous because I have to go perform. They love that stuff,
Yeah. Well, it's reality TV.
Exactly. And then I opened the door, the big red door, and I was like, okay, here we go. And I'm walking up the steps, and then all I see is 4 red chairs in front of me, and I'm like, oh, great, this is just fantastic. I'm like, this is gonna go so bad. I was like, oh shit. Then the song started.
What did you sing?
Stuck on You. It was an Elvis song that I kind of put like a crooner twist on. So yeah. And I started singing. There was like the bass line. It's the beginning of the song. And
it's a fantastic song, yeah.
Thanks.
No, it is.
Oh, thanks. And it's a great
song.
Well,
I'm not complimenting you. I'm complimenting that. Well, your choice is good, but
I mean, the arrangement was original, actually.
There you go.
But
okay, yeah.
I credit my musical director for that. So he's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah. I was on the stage.
The audition.
Yeah, and then I started singing, and they turned around, and within
not only one.
Yeah, all 4, and it was luckily for me, it was within like 5 seconds.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, I don't have to worry anymore because I'm just singing, and they turned, and everything's great.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think I would have been happy with one chair. You know, like I wasn't
Yeah. You're still on the show for sure.
exactly. I wasn't expecting four, and honestly, I would have been happy with no chairs too. Like whatever, it would have been like done. Doesn't matter. But
I mean,
yeah,
your
but
performance was breaththutaking for that audition. I mean, like it paid off. So like clearly they were going to turn. Yeah, I
well,
from what I watched, like clearly they were going to turn. Yeah.
well,
So
thanks, thank you. I mean, I guess, yeah. Looking back, I'm like, wasn't that? I could have done a lot of things better. But
I know, but it's a blind
fine.
audition. It's on TV, and
Exactly. Yeah.
people. I haven't seen you at your best yet, but it's great potential. It's a fabulous potential, and of course they're going to turn. Of course they're going to
Well,
be like, yeah,
well, thanks. Well, thanks. And then I picked my coach.
yeah. Who was your coach?
Pierre Lapointe.
Did you forget for a second?
No, I didn't. I was just, I wasn't sure if I was going to say it in the French accent or the English accent. So I was like, am I going to say Pierre Lapointe or Pierre Lapointe?
Yeah.
Anyways, I said the French one because
You said
French.
both, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So he's super amazing, and yeah, he's a great artist, and it's just been great, and I'm still connected with him today. So yeah.
It's awesome. And touch a little bit on what happened after the blind audition. What was the process of doing the show? And yeah.
So after the blind auditions, there were the duels, which is where they partner you up with another singer and you battle them. Sounds really bad, but
Yeah.
it's like
It makes for great TV.
yeah, exactly. I was like, feel like I'm going in the freaking what's called the Colosseum in Rome, like the gladiators.
They're doing UFC or
Exactly.
whatever. Yeah.
It was anyway. So it was the battle. They literally make
boxing
it
match.
They make it like a boxing ring. It's funny. And that happened, and I won. I won the knockout, which is like fine.
Who were you against?
Her name was Renee. She was amazing. She was great.
Okay.
And it was fun, and she's super nice and
Yeah.
super talented. And that's the only part that sucked. It's like I hate having to. Again, this thing with competitions, it's like I hate having to compete against people. You know, it's like everybody's loves what they do. Everybody's working hard for what they want, and
But that's a show also.
it's yeah. But you know, again, I loved it, and it was a great experience. And I sang.
And then what happened?
And then after that, it was the quarterfinals, and it was kind of again we were put in a group of two groups of three, and then.
Okay.
I was in one group, and then there was another group on my team because there were 6 people left in my team. And then one person out of the 3 moved on to the semifinals.
Right.
And based on votes and on the judges' vote, basically.
So the quarterfinals, you won again?
Yes, I won again in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
And then it was the semifinals where I was up against one other person in my team. So there were 4 judges. Each judge had 2 people in the semifinals, and basically they were each battling each other in the semifinals. And then for the finals, there would be 4, 1 per coach. Yeah. So in the semifinals, I was like, I'm not going to win. I'm like, I'm not going to the finals. Come on. And also the person I was up against was like very popular on social media and on Instagram, and I was not as popular.
Was the influencer a thing back then?
Was what?
Being an influencer and being a was it a
well,
thing?
It definitely counted towards votes and stuff. Like,
oh, really? Oh, yeah. Okay, because
like
she had an audience. Okay, she had an audience.
The public voted, so that's what got the public through.
You.
That's what got you through to the next round.
Right.
So when I saw I had about 1/8 of the social media following that.
How much does she have?
Oh, it was a him in the semifinals.
Oh, him. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember how much he had a long time ago, but it was like literally.
It was a lot.
It was like 8 times more than I had. so I was like, okay, I'm not gonna win. I got to the semifinals. I was like, this is great. I'm just gonna have a fun. I'm gonna give a nice, fun
The
performance.
grand old time.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a great time on stage, and then I'm gonna forget about it and pack my bags and get out.
Yeah.
and then I get on stage, and they're announcing the winner, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna announce it. I'm like, okay. I was getting ready to like walk off the stage, right?
Oh, really?
I was getting ready to be like,
You
okay.
were
I was
that not confident about it.
I was like 100% sure I wasn't going to go to the finals. Like,
Wow.
no joke. I was getting ready to say thank you. Such a great experience. I had the time of my life, and congrats to the guy next to me with positive spirits. I was getting ready for all that. And
Wow.
then he's like, David, like when he announced the winner, and I was like, wait, what? This is impossible. I was thinking in my head. And then I think they picked up that I was shocked, the TV, and they were like, wait, why are you shocked? And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty shocked right now. I was like, they're like, what do you have to say? And I was like, I'm speechless. I said something like that. It's like, I don't know what to say. And the only thing I said was like, oh, it was amazing. Congrats to Sam was his name, the guy next to me. And thank you to the coaches and stuff like that. And then I was in the finals, and that's it.
There you go. We're in the finals.
Nothing stays buried forever, especially not the past.
Yesterday is Not Yet Gone, a mystery novel by Gabriel Veiga, host of the Very Creative Podcast. Available now, paperback and digital. GabrielVeiga.com. Buy it now.
Do you want to tell quickly the story of you catching something in the finals?
Oh, yeah. So the finals, there was a week. There was a week between the semifinals and the finals. Again, this was all live. The semifinals and the finals are live. Yeah. Also, the quarterfinals. Everything before that is pre-recorded.
Right.
So, yeah, the semifinals to the finals, there was a week.
So if you fuck up, it's done. It's seen on TV.
It's seen on TV, exactly. So the semifinals, we had a week, and our coach had to write a song for us for the finals.
Right.
So I got my song. The performance was on the Sunday. The finals was going to be on the Sunday, and I got my song on the Monday before. So there were 6 days left. Then I learned the song. Then rehearsals were on the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, or something like that. And I learned my song. It was great. And then on the Wednesday night, Thursday morning, just when rehearsals were about to start, I lost my voice completely. Like, completely.
Which is great for a singer.
It's so phenomenal. It's the best feeling in the world. But I lost it. And it was a really bad case. Like, it was not a good case. Like, I get sick, but usually it's bearable. But this was like, of course, the week of the finals, it's the worst sick I've ever felt in my life.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I couldn't speak. And then when I would sing, I tried in the rehearsal on the Thursday, my voice would crack.
Right.
Like, it would go, that's how I sounded, like a dying cat. And then
which is great for singing again.
Exactly. So then the Thursday, they were like, okay, forget it. I didn't rehearse because, well, I tried, but then they stopped. They're like, you can't sing. So I didn't rehearse. They're like, okay, try to take, try to get rest up, and then we'll see tomorrow.
Right.
And then Friday, I'm still sick. It got worse. I'm like, oh God.
Jesus.
Yeah, Friday. I'm like, okay. I'm like, the performance is on Sunday, right? Like everything's going to be fine. There's still 2 days.
Yeah.
Then again, they made me rest. The producer put me in his like fancy lounge or something. And he was like, here, sleep. And he's like, sleep on this fancy couch. I was like, okay, perfect. And I was just sleeping for a whole day in a studio.
Yeah.
Why was I at the studio? I don't know. I could have done that at home. But anyway, I was sleeping at the studio because I had to do some like mic tests and stuff that I needed to check. So
they wanted to make sure you were okay. For TV.
Exactly. And then phenomenal. I couldn't even practice my song, so all I could do was like go over the lyrics in my head. Like I couldn't practice it because
Right.
So I would like try to go over the melody in my head. I would listen to it. That's how I would practice it.
Yeah. And it was a French song too.
It was
right,
French.
that
It
you
was French.
sang.
Yeah. And it was a very, very challenging song to sing.
Right.
Really challenging.
Yeah, I saw the finale today. I was preparing for this, and yeah, it was challenging. It was not an easy song at all.
It's not an easy song to sing, and it's. I love the song so much because he did. It's so sophisticated, and I want to sing it again in a better condition. At some point in my life, it's such an amazing song. Anyway,
you didn't want to fuck up because he wrote it for you.
He wrote it.
Yeah,
and it's
that's what they do in the finals. They write songs for you.
Michael Jackson's brothers would be watching.
So exactly.
Like, okay.
You talked about that. Yeah.
And then Florida Georgia Line was there. I was like, okay, God. Now I have laryngitis.
So to tell everyone, David, we did an interview on another show that I do, Radio Dodo for children. But you people don't know the Jackson brothers were there.
Yes.
And why were they there?
Well, they were singing. They were guests, and we had to do a little song with them too, a song and dance type thing.
Yeah.
And that was fun. I had a dance class with the Jackson brothers.
Right.
Which is like really cool.
Wow.
And
you didn't want to fuck up, and what happened?
Then Saturday came the day before, and I was still sick.
Yeah.
It was still bad. It was equally as bad as the day before.
Jesus.
So then they kind of took me to like their specialist doctor, who's like Celine Dion's doctor.
Okay.
Or something. And
that's not a bad doctor to have.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm sure she's experienced in like vocal problems, And they did the whole like put the thing up the nose through the throat. It was gross. The thing that they do for COVID.
You were being tested for coronavirus.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, something different. But
yeah.
It's a joke. I know. It's totally. And so they did that, and they checked my throat.
So you didn't have coronavirus.
I didn't. Thank God. And they.
When was this? So, by the way, what was the date of the 2016? Was it?
2017.
2017. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, to tell everyone, there's no coronavirus. Just to be clear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she gave me a bunch of medication and sprays and a bunch of stuff, and she said I couldn't speak until the performance. She said I couldn't speak.
How's that for the test things that you had to do?
Like someone else would do my tests and stuff.
Oh, wow. Someone else did your test?
Yeah. So it...
That's nerves, man. That's real nerves.
Okay. So then the day of the performance came, and I was still sick. I was still under the weather. I had a fever. I still, like, I could tell, like, I was struggling.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is going to go so bad. I was like, that was the most stressed I've ever been. Like, oh my God. And then I kind of just started the show, and I was like, oh, well, this is happening. I think I broke down backstage before getting on. It wasn't televised, that, thank God. But I'm pretty sure
they didn't use that.
And then I can't do it.
Yeah, and they didn't have a camera on you back then.
No. They were just like
they didn't take that opportunity. Okay,
honestly, the team at La Voix was just so kind and professional and
right.
supportive. So it was great, and they kind of were just supporting.
Because they could have.
They could have. No, but it was a very professional, kind team.
Great.
And my coach too came to see me, and he was like, "Oh, don't worry, just do your best," type thing. And and they were like, they said something like, no matter what happens, you already got this far, and even if and they were kind of like, you already got this far. People know that like you did well, and like it doesn't matter. That this final performance, just have fun and go out there and do your best. So it was kind of encouraging. And then I calmed down and I was like, okay, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do it. Then I had to sing with Florida Georgia Line. And first
So
of
you
all,
had 2 songs during
Yeah.
that finale. Okay.
well, there was a bunch of group numbers, a
Oh,
bunch of
group numbers,
songs,
okay.
and then I had one solo song.
Right.
But it started with the group numbers.
Okay. So
So-
that's the first time you talked and sang?
So that's the first time I sang on stage, was in the group song.
But did you talk before that?
I just a little bit. I was told not to, but just a
Okay.
little bit, and I still had like kind of a scratchy voice.
Just to test out your voice a little bit?
Exactly. Like
Okay.
barely though. Just kind of like right before I spoke. Then I went on stage, Florida Georgia Line, and like, not only did I have laryngitis, I'm not a country singer. I'm not a country singer. Okay, I do not look like a country singer. Besides that, I'm not a country singer, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh God, how am I gonna do this? It's like a special. No, I'm
You're
singing
a jazz
this,
singer, yeah.
I'm singing this country song here. I'm like, you're holy, holy. Like I'm so cringe worthy. I was like, what am I gonna do? And so
Right.
I sang. At this point, it was really shit, but I was just happy that like my voice came out. I was like, okay, great, awesome. Never gonna watch this, but great, my voice came out.
Did you watch it?
No.
Okay.
Well, I did for 1 second, then I turned it off right away because I was like, I can't see this. I can't see this. Turn it off. Then.
Not during the show. You didn't watch it during the show. Okay.
God, no. During
On
the show,
replay.
I was just happy that the voice
Before
came
your
out.
performance.
Yeah, I was just happy that the voice came
Yeah.
out.
And then what happened?
And
Yeah.
then it was with the Jacksons was the next one. The performance with the Jacksons. Which, again, like I'm also...
So you
that's not-
just danced or sang with them?
We sang too.
Okay.
And my voice came out. Great. I was like, okay, it's not so bad. It's not
Right.
so bad. So I had more hope. And then it was my solo, and the voice came out. I mean, it wasn't perfect. Obviously, if I didn't have laryngitis, I think it would have been a better performance. But it came out,
Right.
and I did it, and that was it. That was the end of it.
Yeah.
So,
Were you, because at the end of your performance, you're
Mm.
breathing loudly. That's what I saw. Like you're breathing. Is that nervousness? Is that happiness that you did it? What was that moment like?
Oh, that was just like,
Exhaustion?
It was exhaust. It was a mixture of
Right.
exhaustion, emotions, like the most stressful week of my life because I had laryngitis. It was already going to be stressful because it's the finals, and then on
Yeah.
top of it, I had to get laryngitis. So it was just a relief that it came out,
A relief,
that it was
right.
done, and then all the emotions kind of came out. So that
Did
that
you
was
think that was a good performance and you were going to win, or
No.
no?
No, I knew I wasn't going to win, but well, I mean, I didn't know 100%.
Were you disappointed?
That I didn't win?
No, that of that performance of
Of the performance.
in that moment, that you were like, oh, I'm not going to win. Were you disappointed in yourself?
No, not at all. I was just happy that the song came out. That
Right.
I sang and that it came out. And I obviously wasn't happy with the performance per se, but at that moment, it was kind of like,
Yeah.
whatever. Like I did what I had to do, and I had
Yeah, you
laryngitis.
did your best.
I did my
Yeah.
best, and it came out. And you know what? It wasn't perfect. It was far from it, but it's done. And I was just relieved. That's it.
Right.
And
And then who won that year?
Ludovic Bourgeois.
Okay.
And
What was he
super
singing?
nice.
What was his style?
He was like country pop country, kind of.
Okay.
Not really country, more on the pop side,
Yeah.
but a kind of country twist, I think.
Yeah. Were you happy for him?
Oh yeah. My God. Oh my God. I was so happy for everybody. I think everybody.
Yeah.
And everybody was supportive. Nobody really cared if they won or not.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was just kind of like we got so far. We were just so happy to be there. And it was like winning, it doesn't have anything to do with
Yeah.
how your career is going to go, you know? So it was just a great moment. It was just I was just happy to be here, and I was happy for him that he won, and he deserved it, and he was amazing, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you did your absolute best, man.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Yeah, and you're still going, and you're still. What happened after the show? How did you like? What happened? Musically,
after the show, that's when I got into acting. After the
really?
show.
Okay, yeah.
Not right away after, but right away after, I was kind of. We did a tour. There was a tour. Then after the
what
tour,
was the tour? Just briefly.
Yeah, so it was basically like the finalists and the semifinalists would tour across Quebec.
Okay.
In the summer, it was like at summer festivals in arenas.
Was that enjoyable?
Yes. Yeah. It was great, and and we toured. I was on a bus, and like we just went across Quebec.
Right.
And
that's a nice summer.
Yeah, it was super fun, and we just kind of performed the songs that we did on the show. So,
right.
Yeah, it was the La Voix tour, and
then you went to acting. Why? What made you go there?
Well, right after I was singing some more, I got hired for like gigs because I was on La Voix, and like people were like, "Oh, we want you to sing here, we want you to sing there," because they saw me on the show. So I would sing a lot. And then I got into acting because my musical director, John Gilbert, who I met, who's now my manager, but who I met when I was 10 years old, before the show. I met him a long time ago, and he's been training me, and he kind of knew an acting coach. Her name is Sargine, and she's amazing. And then I took a class with her, and a musical theater acting coach. Yeah. And I took a class with her, and it was just so inspiring. I was like, oh, I love this acting. Like, it kind of introduced me to the world of acting.
Yeah.
And from there, I kind of just fell in love with acting. And I was like, oh, I want to be more than just a singer, you know?
Right.
So I...
you were already loving musical theater at that point, I imagine.
You know, I wasn't... I was exposed to it, but I wasn't... too familiar with musical theater as I was with jazz. I was more into the jazz at that time. I still was exposed to musical theater because my musical director is a musical theater guy. So so he exposed me to it.
You were exposed to it, and then with acting, you discovered that something you wanted to do. I assume
it was kind of like awakening a new passion, and then from there, it's
you could be singing and acting.
Exactly. And then from there, ever since, I kind of been pursuing both equally, singing and acting. So, now I'm at that stage where I'm pursuing acting. So it's.
How was your, I mean, this is a creative, like we're looking at creativity, but how was it different for you? Transitioning from a singer to going into it's not that like otherworldly to go into acting, you know. It's still the art, it's still something you have a general knowledge of, but how did you feel entering that world at first?
I felt challenged because I felt like it's so hard. Acting is really hard. You know, it's not. It's so hard to be so truthful and human under like an imaginary circumstance. You know, it's not easy to do, and because of that challenge, I felt compelled to do it, and I felt like, I have something that I want to achieve. You know, and that's how I feel right now too. I'm like, I want to work towards my goal of becoming a great actor, and so it's just a challenge. It's a creative challenge, and I love challenges, and I love and I love to challenge myself. So to me, that's what it was, and that's why I do it, and also because I love it, and it just feels so good to do it. So
But as
that's not-
quarantine, like we're in quarantine, or we're in not quarantine, but we're in pandemic right now. Has it made you more lean to singing or acting? Have you gotten more audition or less auditions because of that? What happened there creatively?
I've definitely been acting more.
Okay,
as,
interesting.
when quarantine hit, but I've also been singing. But it's just also with singing, it's harder to do because it's harder to do on Zoom singing.
Yeah.
Because of you need the music, and then the music is like an extra thing that technically you have to work out with the computers and stuff like that. So it's just more challenging. Whereas the acting, it's just me and the other person, you know. So it's easier to act on Zoom than it is to sing on Zoom. Right. But that's not to say that I haven't been doing it. Like I've still been singing, and
I mean, it's unfortunate because you had a singing career. Well, you still have it. It's just that the pandemic hit, and you were supposed to do a concert for plug that out. Like
I was supposed to do a concert. Well, I've been doing it for many years now for the Jewish
but
General.
It's great. Yeah. Plug it.
Yes, so for the Jewish General Hospital, for the mental health program, I've been holding fundraising concerts to raise money for their psychiatric department.
Right.
And their cause is called Mind Strong. And I was supposed to have a concert this May. But then, obviously, with COVID, it got canceled.
Yeah.
It was going to be so exciting, though. It was supposed to be a big band concert, like 18 musicians. So it was going to be so fun. But, you know, it's life. And it got canceled. And I saw it as I didn't really take it. You know, I was sad that I couldn't do the concert. I was like, oh, this really sucks. I was preparing it. I was literally in the middle of preparing it. That concert was gonna be like so fun, but it's okay. It was an opportunity for me to work on other things. You know, I didn't lose any time. I think now because of COVID, it gave me a chance to work on my acting more. As opposed to before, where it was kind of always singing because I was busy with the singing, right? But now I have an opportunity, a solid opportunity to work on my acting, which I wouldn't have had if it wasn't for COVID. So yes, it's exciting.
It closed doors, but it's giving you. It's a great. The pandemic and when the quarantine hit, it's a great. It's also a great creative moment if you're taking advantage of it. Yeah. Yeah,
it was a bittersweet thing.
Yeah. But it's not a closed door because you're still going to do it.
Exactly.
It's just like a delayed closed door.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think that. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think that any doors closed.
No.
It was more like more doors opened actually. So it's it's been great. It's been
Yeah. So I guess one of my last question is how does you are always busy, like you're always doing something, like that's what it seemed to me. Like, do you like it, and do you have to stay busy for your sanity? What's happening there?
That's a good question, and everybody says that, and it's I am, you know, and I try to. Honestly, I just think there are not enough hours in a day for me to do what I want to
do. Yeah.
There's so much I want to do. It's crazy. There's so much I want to get better at. And it's like, it frustrates me because there's so much I want to do. I'm sorry, I'm saying that over and over again, but it's true. It's like every day I wake up with a list of things that I want to do.
Wow.
And it's like, I never get it all done because there's too much on my list. And then it gets moved on to the next day and then to the next day. And it's like, oh God, okay. It's all creative stuff that you want to do.
It's all
creative stuff. It's all creative stuff. Yeah, it's all
the other stuff singing, you're like
acting. It's all acting, singing, and dancing. So it's all that. And but I love it, you know, and it's fun. It's okay. I mean, and I think it's kind of for me to get where I want to go. in the future, for me to become the artist that I want to become,
Right.
I just kind of see it as necessary
Yeah.
for me personally, because I think that you just it's important to it's like becoming a doctor, you know. They go to school for 5 years, and they're constantly in their books studying, you know, and they're practicing and they're doing that. I think it's the same. It's different, obviously, but it's the same kind of thing for me as an artist, where if you want to get to a certain
You have to
level,
do it. Yeah, you have to do it.
You have to do it.
Doctors have to do it too.
Doctors have to do it, exactly.
Of course they have to.
Oh my God, them especially. If not, we're all dead. But yeah. But in a sense, it's like you just have to work. Right? It's just important to. To get to a professional. To get to a professional level and to build a career, it's not all just fun and games. You know, it's hard work, and sometimes it is tiring, but it's part of it. And breaks are important though, and that's something I need to learn.
Have you ever taken a break?
Because I don't think I ever take breaks.
Really?
I occasionally.
And how do you feel creatively when you're on pause?
I get very anxious when I'm on pause.
You want to do stuff, right?
Yeah. I'm kind of like a friggin' addict. It's not known. I do not, to anybody out there listening to this, and I do not recommend being like me.
No, but also okay. It's good because you're going to get where you're going, where you want to go, you know? And it's the obsessiveness about it is important.
It is.
Let me just say that it's important. It's if you're not like obsessive about your work, like I'm a perfectionist. I about my work, you know. I about the arts, about the writing. I'm a perfectionist. I'm obsessive about it. I look at my writing and I'm like, okay, this needs to be there. This needs to be there. This needs all the time. I'm always thinking about it. Yeah.
And it's part of it.
If you're not obsessed about it, you're not gonna.
And I think when you love it so much, just like you love writing, right? Like when you love it, it doesn't appear as hard work when you're doing it. You know, it is, but it's a lot. I mean, sometimes it does. Yeah, you know what? I take it back too, because I was kind of talking out loud there. I mean, sometimes it's fun.
Sometimes you don't want to do it. That's what I was telling JAYLEN. Most times I don't want to do it.
It's true.
Like I wake up most mornings.
That's true.
And that's what I was telling JAYLEN. My alarm now is like at 5:30 a.m. because I know that's where I'm most alive and where I'm going to do the best work.
Oh, that's hard to wake up.
But I wake up. I have to write because my thing is I have to write from 5:30 to 6:37 a.m. But most morning I don't want to wake up. You know, and I don't want to. I sit at the computer and I'm like, "What am I going to write today?" Like seriously.
Oh yeah, I totally relate to that. Sometimes
I have to do it because it's my work, it's my career. Yeah. But it's also if I don't do it, I'm going to feel bad later.
And you know what I relate to in that? I think what the hardest part is doing it on your own when there's nobody else to like kind of push you.
Yeah.
And to kind of have that.
But that's when you really succeed. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because you don't depend on people.
Yeah, the self-discipline is so important. Like practicing, for me, it's always it's hard to get the encouragement to like practice when nobody else is watching, you know, and it's kind of just me in my room. It's like, okay, now I have to practice, you know. That's the hardest thing to do. But in the end, you know what the hardest part is? To start.
Yeah, but to finish too.
To finish too, yeah.
Especially in writing. Yeah.
Of course. But I think for me, it's always been like starting has been the hardest. And then once I start, it's kind of I'm in it. And it's like, I'm like, okay. You know, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, in the end, it's necessary. Like going back to the thing about hard work and keeping yourself busy, it's just necessary. And there are two kinds. There's people who do art or writing or singing or acting. Like some people do it as a hobby, which is great. Right. and then some people want to do it professionally, which is also great. But I think when it has to be done professionally, a certain amount of dedication and hard work is required. So yeah.
I feel the same way. You have to be obsessed about it. You have to work hard. Talent isn't everything, and like if you don't work at it, you're not going to go where you want to go. And even if it's like if you don't want to work at it, like you have to,
Exactly.
It's not always going to be easy. It's
Never.
awesome. It's an awesome profession, like what we're doing: acting, singing, writing. But
yeah. Actually, it's for most of the time it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard,
it's
and
not,
it becomes work a little bit sometimes. But what's the best feeling about it is that when you complete something, when you release it, you're so proud of yourself. Yeah, your dog is great.
My dog is.
He's approving, but it's the result, man. We're doing it for the result. It's your name on it. It's everything.
Yeah, exactly. And like for you, it's when you release the book, and it's similar for me. Like it's when I get on a performance, I give a performance that I like, So it's kind of like there's like again, like you said, it's for the result. It's like it's all working towards a goal, and all the in between.
But it doesn't stop at the result, though.
But it doesn't stop at the result. No, because then once you achieve that, then there's another result that you want to achieve. And
you kind of forget about that result, and you want to for me, especially with the first book coming out, I'm like, oh, okay, cool, that's done. But now I have the pressure of like being even better, and like. I love it, but it's also like a pressure, and that keeps you going. That keeps you, if you're like, oh, I just released a book, fine, I'm just gonna not work at it anymore. But that's not the goal. That's like becoming better every time.
Every day. 1% every day.
Every time. Every day.
Yeah. So, I totally get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you're always taking classes. You're always bettering yourself. Yeah. Watch out, people. When he releases something, it's gonna explode. Let me just say that. No, you really are bettering yourself all the time, and I admire you for that, because that's the key to success.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
Well, okay, let's leave this on a cool, feel good note. What I ask is, because for me, when I'm too creative, I work a lot during the day, and doing like sometimes I'm just at night and my brain is fried. Mm-hmm. So I watch feel good stuff. I watch reality TV. I watch a feel good movie, or listen to feel good songs, whatever. So, what's your feel good movie?
Right now I've kind of just been watching. It kind of depends the week, but I've been watching a lot of mobster movies.
Okay.
I was watching the Godfather, and then I now tonight I plan also for my classes we get some things we have to watch, so I'm going to be watching Taxi Driver tonight.
Right.
And then
does that feel good? I don't know.
It's not really a feel good. None of them are feel good, but.
What makes you feel good?
They feel good to watch them because I guess the acting is so great. But they're not feel good per se. But so that's what I've been watching right now. I finished. I think I was telling you, Peaky Blinders, which again is not really feel good. There's a lot of gross stuff that goes on in there. Yeah. But it was fun to watch and entertaining, and so
that's your feel-good TV show, or do you have another TV show that turns your brain off?
Yeah, that's what. That's what I've been watching now. Yeah, that's what I've been watching now. No, I haven't really been watching anything else, to be honest.
Okay.
So,
what about songs? What gets you away? Because you're a singer, it's hard to not think about the craft when you're listening.
Of course.
I bet. But what's a feel-good song that you would listen to turn just to feel good?
Oh God! Every time I'm listening to a song, I'm kind of just like, "What's happening here?" how are they doing that? It's kind of always analytical. But no, feel good. Yes, I got it. Michael, I don't know if you know him. Michael McDonald. You know Michael McDonald?
Isn't there a Michael Bublé song, Feel Good, Feeling Good, or something?
Oh, Feeling Good. That would have been a great joke. Yeah, Michael Bublé. But no, I haven't been listening to Bublé a lot, to be honest.
Yeah.
And he's great.
So what was the Feel Good thing?
It's Michael McDonald. Whenever I listen to him, I'm just not thinking about the craft. He has this like voice, and he's like, he kind of sings like that all the time, and it's this really funny voice. The Doobie Brothers, and they it's like the '70s band, and they sing what's it called? What a Fool Believes is the song.
Right.
Yeah. If you haven't heard it, just look it up. It's really the feel. The
Michael McDonald. Okay.
And his voice. Oh my God! It's so unique.
Yeah.
So like, I don't even. It's just so.
Hey,
fun.
right after this, I'm going to listen to that.
Yeah, and I just can't think of anything but Jet like doing this.
That's good. You said it.
So that's
what about
a feel-good song.
Yeah, a feel good musical? Or what's your favorite musical?
What's my favorite music? Okay, this is so hard. Feel good. I don't really feel like I have a feel good musical because I feel like all the musicals, there's so much depth to them that like when I'm watching them, there's so much to analyze all the time. So
Right.
I'm never watching a musical just to feel good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but don't you? It could be a
yeah.
movie too, a musical movie that you've seen that you can watch at any time.
Yeah. What was I watching? I watched a bunch of musicals during this COVID. I watched Hairspray. I watched a lot of Sondheim musicals like Into the Woods and I watched Jesus Christ Superstar. But I like them all. It's so hard to pick one. This is too tough of a question. It's impossible for me to pick. But I really like I'll pick one.
Yeah.
I really liked Gypsy. I watched a bootleg of Gypsy, which is really great. I loved it with Patti LuPone.
Okay.
And it was just amazing. So yeah.
Is that a musical, Gypsy?
Yeah, it's a musical. Yeah, hasn't been on Broadway for a while, but now obviously sad, but no, I watched the old bootleg with Patti LuPone. I think in the early 2000s or something.
Right.
Yeah, but no, it's really great. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This has been an amazing conversation. Honestly, I think people are going to be very excited about this, and
it's been so
just
fun.
to hear your voice experience and to dive into it, and to also like your childhood and everything, how you became, because you were not born a singer.
No.
So yeah, it's exciting, and just keep creating, just keep staying busy. Don't obsess too much about it.
I'll try my best, but no promises.
Yeah, take a break sometime and see how that feels. But you're doing great, and we'll talk to you soon, I'm sure. And
absolutely.
Thank you, buddy, for doing this podcast.
Thanks, man. Thank you,
David Marino. There you go.
Thank you.
That rhymed.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've been listening to The Very Creative Podcast with Gabriel Veiga. Catch us next week for an all-new episode. To find out more, go to gabrielveiga.com/podcast and follow us on social media at The Very Creative Podcast. To watch on video, go to YouTube and search for The Very Creative Podcast and subscribe. See you next week.